Hello! Welcome back to Killer Score, the podcast that covers cult classic films with killer soundtracks, talks about their scores, their composers, and all sorts of other doodads. And, spring has sprung. We're in the spring months. Summer will be coming up soon, but we are officially in anime.
Anime.
Woo! What better way to start off anime than with a movie about animals that are primarily associated with cold weather that's also set during the summer.
Good one, Aaron.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, to be honest.
It's
like 80 degrees outside, and we're watching Penguin Highway, so here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, only so many slice of life / Makoto Shinkai movies out there, but trust me, they're coming.
Yeah. So, you know what I want to talk about, guys, before we really get into this? Patreon.
Indeed.
Isn't it a neat website? It really is.
You know what? I just thought about that. It really is cool. You can support all sorts of cool creators up there.
Yeah.
I got a couple of friends falling on hard times. Let's call them Aaron and Donovan and Ricky.
Really?
I love how my name is the same.
I tried putting an A instead of an E.
Aaron?
Yeah, there we go.
Aaron.
So, yeah, it'd be really neat if we had a Patreon.
Wouldn't it, though?
Yeah, that would be neat. It would be really neat if we had a Patreon and people subscribe to it. Because let me tell you, if that was the case, maybe I would go on less tangents, Maybe we wouldn't devolve into a 40-minute discussion about the Sega Dreamcast.
And maybe we wouldn't ramble on and on about that trip, that totally hypothetical trip that we're going to take to every single Margaritaville.
Yeah. Wouldn't you love to see that? If only there was a way you could help us finance those dreams.
A really cheap $5 way at the very least expensive.
Or even less, actually. I've heard that, believe it or not, you can support us at only $2-3?
Yeah, that's true.
Or you can also donate to our Ko-fi, which, if you want to make a one-time donation, link in the doobly-doo.
Yeah. Man, that would be crazy.
That would be a miracle for us, wouldn't it?
In fact, I didn't want to go this low, but my Furbies are getting kind of sick, and the doctor says the only cure is Patreon donations. And if they don't, my poor babies are probably gonna die. And I'm not saying it would be you, the listener's fault, but it would be you, the listener's fault. Do you really want to kill Yick and Giorno?
Yick and Giorno.
Do you want to kill them? Because it might happen if you don't donate to our Patreon or Ko-fi. I'm just saying.
You fucking asshole. I'm already working on a new graphic for the theme month, and then you throw me that fucking curveball.
I'll take pictures of me cradling my babies later for you. Don't worry.
Please make my life easier.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be wild. Does anyone else have anything they want to say about that to really hammer this in?
If you don't donate to our Patreon, one of us, not me, will resort to doing porn.
Yeah.
Trust me, you don't want that. Nor do you want to know who she was looking at.
Nor do you want to hear what else we might do, which is we might start going off on those weird-ass fake sponsorship things again.
Oh my god!
Yeah. On that lovely note...
Penguin Highway!
Yes.
Yeah, that's the movie we're kicking off anime with, now that we're out of the way of that. And let's get on to it, or else I will start talking about the Sega Dreamcast extensively.
Please don't.
Jesus Christ.
Please donate to our Patreon so he doesn't have to talk about the Sega Dreamcast for 3 hours.
He'll do it. He means it.
I have enough material.
Okay, so back to the movie. So the movie that I have picked for our first entry in Anime 2023, I almost said 2022. What year is it? What decade is it? What time am I in?
Space is warped and time is bendable.
The new
Time
20s.
is relative.
The new 20s. You're
The
in
new 20s. I'm approaching 30. Dear God, help me.
Yeah, we both are.
Yeah. Anyway. So, Penguin Highway, let me bring up my notes app, is a anime film, obviously. It's based off... I heard one of you starting to laugh.
Good. I was really worried you might have brought us some
Ow.
obscure Germanic opera that made it on the film.
You fucking asshole.
No, that's for another episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the Penguin Highway, the film, is based off the 2010 popular science fiction novel by Tomohiko Morimi, which later had a manga adaptation. So the book itself was pretty popular in Japan. It did get released in the US. It has an adorable cover. I will say that with a picture of a penguin on it, and it makes my heart melt every single time.
Yeah, it was when it was. I know when it was initially released in Japan, it was in the very popular Tankobon novel format, which kind of hard to explain. So just look up Tankobon for yourself.
Yeah, I still don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's kind of like a light novel, kind of not.
kinda not. So the idea of Penguin Highway came from two different inspirations from the author, Tomohiko Morimi. One of them being a nature documentary he saw on TV in his apartment one day, which was just about penguins, which I think is adorable. And the other being the things that he loved and wished he had experienced growing up in a suburban city in Japan. And he's like, he said he was more like a quiet kid,
Yeah.
but he wasn't as like analytical as Aoyama, the character in the book and the film.
Yeah.
So, he said it was inspired by things he saw or wanted to see as a child growing up in Japan. Tomohiko Morimi did enjoy the film. He actually did like what they did with the adaptation of his book to film, which is not something you see very often.
Yeah.
Because most authors, when they see a film adaptation of their work, they're like, oh god, this is terrible, what did you do to my thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless your name's Stephen King, in which case your reception will most likely be all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He likes some, he hates some.
Some
I think
are
it depends on the quality of the film, too, and the
Yeah.
adaptation.
Yeah.
So, when it was adapted to film by Studio Colorido, not Colorado, Colorido, it's spelled with an I double-checked that. It was announced on March 1st, 2018. It had a festival release. It didn't get a widespread release outside of Japan. It did get home video release, though. When it was doing the film festival circuit, though, it did incredibly well.
Seems like a festival movie.
Yeah, it seems like it kind of was, actually. Which is actually kind of impressive, because it's the director Hiroyasu Ishida's directorial debut.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He had only done student films and a thesis before he had done this movie.
Yeah, and I think like a few short films.
And a couple short films. It was his first feature film debut.
For perspective, I am the uninitiated this time. I'm going in completely blind, and Dalton, I think you've seen it before?
Yep.
Yeah, we both watched it.
Yeah, I was the one who pointed it out to her.
You were the one who pointed it out to me, and you were like, hey, this movie looks cute. And we're like, Penguin!
Yeah, it was one of those anime films I'd buy on a whim, which I do a pretty good amount.
For perspective also, Dalton has a nice personal attachment to penguins that you can see more of manifesting in the Catstone dance video.
Yeah, I talk about it more there. Long story short, not only have I always liked them, but, I was appropriate age to get indoctrinated into the love of penguins. I was preteen when the big penguin explosion of the mid-2000s was happening between documentaries and animated films, and little brother loves penguins, so that kind of sparked the whole love even more.
Yeah, also, Aaron, you have no idea how much I was fighting a March of the Penguins joke when you were mentioning the documentary.
Actually, speaking of March of the Penguins, the term Penguin Highway refers to an actual, I guess you would say march of penguins. When they go to migrate, how they just kind of go into a big line of just penguins just walking in a direction, and it's called a Penguin Highway.
Well, I mean, they're black, so it ends up looking like
a highway. Yeah. The director Ishida, he said he had never heard the term Penguin Highway used before until he actually read the book.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to animals, there's a bunch of bizarre terms out there, like murder of crows, which just means that's a lot of crows.
Yeah, that is more than 2 crows.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, there's a
gaggle of geese.
Gaggle, that's what I was thinking. A gaggle of geese. What was the one for ducks?
Oh, I can't remember. I have to look.
There's a bizarre term for ducks too. There's 2 different ones.
I may be wrong, but I read somewhere. Do you 2 know what the term for a group of elephants is?
It's called a raft of ducks or paddling of ducks.
Oh, okay. What's the term for the elephants though?
A party.
I like that.
I like that.
That's a party of elephants right over there. They're gonna get all freaking wild, man.
Or it's like an RPG. It's like, this party of elephants meets at one of those graveyards.
That one's the priest. That one's the warrior. That's the martial artist.
That's the acrobat. We don't know how that works.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, yeah, no, this is all about penguins. I also avoided making a joke about the Werner Herzog documentary he narrated, which involved penguins.
My God.
What?
Yeah, that was a thing.
Werner Herzog did a penguin documentary.
And at one point, the nature guy had to stop Werner Herzog because, a penguin was penguins do this thing where if they get too depressed, they'll just walk off to die.
Yeah.
They'll just walk off by themselves. And Werner Herzog was like, I gotta go grab that penguin. And they're like, you can't just go grab the penguin. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna let it happen to the penguin. So just imagine Werner Herzog being like, I must save the bird. Life is worth living, little one.
Anyways, Penguin Highway.
Okay, back to Penguin Highway. So, the music of the film was done by a well-known Japanese composer. He's done a lot of both classical and jazz compositions, both in film and also in TV.
Yeah.
He also has several albums out. His name is Umitaro Abe. He has a whole website where you can look at and listen to his music. You can probably find it on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever.
Yeah, he's got his own website. I saw a lot of TV credits.
He has a lot of TV credits, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one for all you JRPG nerds out there.
Woo!
I'm looking at you. So
all 2 of us.
All 2 of you.
Yeah, his name rings a bell. What did he do?
Umitaro Abe?
Yeah, what game did he do?
I was actually going to bring up something else, but...
Because you said this is for you JRPG nerds out there, so I'm guessing...
Oh, I was going to talk about Hikaru Utada.
Oh, yeah.
The by now pretty famous Japanese vocalist who has done all of the opening theme songs for every single Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, and is openly non-binary.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for them. Hikaru Utada also did the theme song for this movie.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I apologize for that noise. That was very uncouth of me. The song is called Good Night.
2 words.
2 words. 2 words. Good night. 2
separately.
words.
Yeah.
Separate.
With a space.
Good Space Knight. Yeah.
And the director basically, as we've seen in the interview that he did on casting the film, he loved all of his voice actors, basically. he basically fell in love with each and every one of them.
Yeah. It reminds me of this thing I saw recently with a behind-the-scenes featurette for Mononoke where... what's the Spirit of the Forest? Who I'm struggling to remember.
Sans Wolfmother?
Yeah, or the big deer thing.
Oh, that's the Spirit of the Forest?
Yeah.
The God of the Forest?
Has a name that starts with an M, whatever the character was.
Yeah.
But the VA for that, like in Japan, like you can see God, why am I suddenly blanking on his name?
Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah, you can see Miyazaki in the booth, and he's like, "Hey, could you give me like a more like regal and haughty laugh, like like almost a mocking laugh?" And the voice actor does it again, nails it right away, and you can just see just Miyazaki's face just glowing and lighting up, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah, just
so good."
his face curling up in the booth.
Which is very, very heartwarming considering how much of a grumpy old man Miyazaki is.
Yeah, it's very rare you see Miyazaki smiling, and when you see that feature, it's also a little cursed, at least just for me, just because I'm not used to seeing older white-haired Miyazaki without the beard. It just doesn't look right.
It looks weird.
It looks wrong.
It's very strange.
He looks like
It's like
Ghost.
seeing George Lucas without a beard. It's just wrong.
It's like seeing my dad when he shaved his head and mustache.
Remember? Oh God, George.
It's like
Lucas
poetry. It rhymes.
George Lucas without a beard is just a cursed sight.
It is a cursed sight.
Or when you look at old pictures before he started wearing the flannels, and you're like, "Who's that?"
The beard's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta find that GIF somewhere, honestly.
Wrong app. Right here. Okay. So this movie made about $2.8 million at the Japanese box office. That's how much it got a release in Japan. Did not get any release outside festivals outside of Japan.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is very cute, very heartwarming, and it has a lot to say. And I feel like it's one of those movies that you just feel like you have to sit down and watch. It's one of those movies that I feel like once you watch it, you'll understand. I mean, some people are like, I don't get it. But when you delve deeper into the subtext,
Yeah.
it's very much about like finding the wonder in things in childhood.
Yeah, and it's also,
and finding beauty in in things that you would usually be considered mundane.
Yeah, and, discussion of, like, scientific theories and stuff like that. There's a lot of that in this film.
And it did get a video release through Shout Factory in the US. It had a different distributor in Europe, but I couldn't find the name of it. And this movie won a couple awards at different festivals. And this one is an award that you're gonna like, Dalton.
Yeah, I know. I brought it up to you.
Yeah. It won the Axis, the Satoshi Kon Award for Excellence in Animation Award. That's redundant as hell.
Yeah, it is.
At Fantasia International Film Festival for Best Animated Feature. It's also highly acclaimed on Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's gotten some really good critical appraisal. I enjoyed it myself the first time I saw it. I thought it was a pretty interesting, cute little film. And before we get into the screening, I guess we'll read off the synopsis real quick.
Mind if I do it as the uninitiated?
Yeah, go ahead.
Of course.
All right. Don't play a drinking game to how many flubs there'll be this time. Anyway. Budding genius Aoyama is only in the 4th grade, but already lives his life like a scientist. When penguins start appearing in his sleepy suburb hundreds of miles from the sea, Aoyama vows to solve the mystery. When he discovers that the arrival of the penguins is related to a mysterious young woman from his dentist's office, they team up for an unforgettable summer adventure.
Ayy.
All right. So
Also, there was one more thing. Richie, I'm just grabbing the tape. There was something I wanted to read from the inside that I just thought was adorable. Everything made sense. Until the penguin showed up.
All right, let's get into Penguin Highway.
And we're back after watching Penguin Highway. What did you guys think? I still think this movie is incredibly adorable. I love the penguins. There are some scenes that I guess some people will be like, about, but that's really because it's perspective from like an 11-year-old boy.
Yeah.
They're gonna be thinking
Yeah.
about boobs sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like the Japanese Sandlot.
Yeah.
No, I still think it's a cute, rather interesting movie. Very, very surreal. There's a lot of, straightforward scientific. Hey,
You're a thirsty boy.
I'm a thirsty boy. I drank a lot of water. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like very surreal. There's a lot of cute penguin stuff in it. There's a lot to do with the scientific method in here, which I really appreciate and think is a interesting thing to put in a sort of movie like this. I, in general, enjoyed my second watching of it. Still think it's cute, and I really want to read the book sometime.
All right. First time for yours truly on Penguin Highway, and as with my co-host, I'm of the opinion that it's an adorable, beautifully animated, and touching sci-fi fantasy sort of magical realism sort of film that explores the scientific method, childhood curiosity, and mental development in a way that is wholly unique to itself and endlessly compelling, even if I did fumble over trying to keep up with it at times. Because it is surreal, but it's to its own benefit.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say this film is very familiar, if that's a good word to use. If you were a kid like me and then and kept like a million notebooks and wanted to be a scientist, even though you sucked at math, yeah, I know.
I think
Funny
that's
looking
all
back
three of
on
us
all
here.
three of us.
Yeah.
This Aoyama is someone you can probably relate to
Yeah.
because he's very much a very analytical kid. He's like, I'm a scientist. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I have this many days until I become a grown up and all that stuff. And on the one hand, it's like, oh, that's cute. On the other hand, it's like, yeah, we can relate to that.
Yeah. Adorably precocious, as some would put it. Like,
Yeah.
he tries to act way older than he actually is.
And
Yeah.
it results in some pretty hilarious dialogue and character interactions. We did specifically watch the English dub of this for the sake of being able to keep up with stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good dub. They got some good kid actors for the main characters. Aoyama is given a really nice deadpan little professor voice by Gideon Modisette, and he does pretty well at selling you the idea that Aoyama is this kid who's trying way too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say, I just want to throw it out there. Don't go into this one thinking you're going to get the entire time some big, surrealist, trippy sci-fi fantasy film. For the most part, it's a slice of life movie with surreal elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a coming of age movie with the backdrop of penguins that may or may not actually be from this region.
I guess the best way I could put it is think of those slice of life animes that have like really surreal humor to them. Sort of like
Nichijou?
yeah, like Nichijou
Azumanga?
or Azumanga Daioh, stuff like that. It's going to be more like that than like an old French animated new wave film.
Yeah. This is gonna, as Sultan said, basically this is more slice of life with some fantastical elements as opposed to true surrealism in the way of Dada or Dali or whatever the fuck.
Or God, what's that one French animated film from the 60s you always see posters for with the alien on it? You know the one I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I can't
I
think
think
of
it was a Mobius one, Fantastic Journey, or
Editing Richie will handle
something like that.
Yeah.
that
Editing
you know,
Richie can-
you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's less that, more slice of life with surrealist, fantastical elements. A lot of smarmy kids just being kids in general, and surrealist fantasy. It's a great watch if you enjoy penguins. Don't worry, there's not like does the dog die moment for penguins, because they're not technically normal penguins anyway. They're really durable, and it's not really about the penguins.
Yeah,
No,
like
it's not really about penguins.
there's one moment that borders on it, but it's basically a fake out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's a effective one too.
Yeah.
I love these penguins too. They're well used. They don't come in and break the mood of the scenes. Oftentimes they enhance the mood.
Yeah.
And they're beautifully animated, and their little mannerisms are so adorable, from the way they walk to the way they tumble over things in the street. It's great.
And the sounds they make, which is just adorable little squeaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's already senses. We're not really spoiling things by saying that about the penguins, because one, this is a movie set in rural Japan. Of course, they're
more suburbs, they say.
yeah, suburban, more landlocked area of Japan. Of course, there's not going to be penguins there. Of course, it's not normal if penguins just show up there and they're not going to be normal.
Neighborhood kind of reminds me a little bit of Inaba from Persona 4.
Yeah,
You know, same kind of out in the sticks, small community type place.
exactly. And you shouldn't go into this with the impression that these are normal penguins. Heck, the squeaks give it away. Penguins do not squeak.
They squawk.
They make very bizarre noises.
Very,
Yeah.
they're not as subdued or cute. They are piercing.
They're loud.
Yeah, penguins are very loud animals.
Yeah.
Happy Feet had it right.
Yeah.
Like that.
Penguins sound like your computer glitching out.
They do.
Not that I know what that's like lately.
Oh. So, the soundtrack, the score of this film is just gorgeous.
Oh, yes.
As killer score, we do have to talk about the soundtrack and the score.
Yes, of course.
We messed up a couple times before.
As I want, if I could only do one of those things where someone was like, in one word, describe the feeling that this certain soundtrack or score evokes in you. I think for this one, I would probably say nostalgic.
I was gonna say whimsical.
Really?
Yeah, because whimsical doesn't necessarily mean like fancy free or whatever. It can also mean nostalgic.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Wistful. That's another word I'd use.
Yeah, that's another one too.
It's got the kind of sound that evokes longing for childhood or discovery, appropriate for a movie about kids obsessed with the scientific method, because there's a wonder to the score being used. It's funny that Aaron brought up wanting to talk about Joe Hisaishi.
Joe Hisaishi, even though he had nothing to do with it.
But it did sound a lot like something he would score, at least by later in the movie, when things kind
I
of...
completely disagree with that, to be honest.
Is that because Joe Hisaishi soundtracks are way more big and orchestral?
Yeah, they're very big.
They're very big. They're very orchestral. This one's a lot more subdued.
That's another word I was going to go for.
Oh yeah, subdued.
I think
That's
it's
fun.
very subdued, and another word I would use is naturalistic.
Oh yeah.
It feels very there's no like they all feel like normal instrumental stuff. They all feel like stuff you would hear in almost like a piano bar or a jazz lounge or stuff like that. nothing too in
like
your
a coffee
face.
shop kind of.
Yes, it's very relaxing stuff, which fits the very mostly laid back nature of this movie.
I mean, yeah, how many scenes does the score punctuate of people just playing chess?
Exactly.
Yeah, like-
it's not some big. Don't go into this going, oh, it's an anime movie. I'm gonna get a Makoto Shinkai score. I'm gonna get
Joe Hisaishi score,
I'm gonna get Joe
or like a big
Hisaishi.
shonen fight or
I'm gonna
whatever.
get the I'm gonna get a Sawano drop. No, it's very it's coffee bar music.
And it's, again, to its own benefit
Yeah.
because it spends a lot of its time developing all these discoveries and taking you along Aoyama's journeys.
I would say Abe's score perfectly fits the tone of the piece.
Oh,
does.
absolutely.
Because Abe's score works in a way that makes you feel nostalgic, but comfortable.
Mhm.
It makes you feel in a way that both anything is possible, but everything is familiar, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. It really, for me, it invokes the feeling of digging up an old box of stuff from your past that you had lying around and looking at some old photographs and going, ah.
It's
I
like a
remember that.
Yeah.
must resist obvious Nickelback joke.
Please don't.
Yeah, please don't.
Please don't.
Okay,
No.
we're fine. We're good. Thank you, guys. You pulled me out.
I will say, I do like all the edits of those memes.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, like,
Oh, yeah.
like look at this graph.
Just this pie chart.
Yeah.
all those overlaid memes.
Yeah,
Uh,
look at this giraffe.
I mentioned Aoyama's voice actor, but the dub as a whole is just great. The only actor I wasn't crazy about was Jake Ritter as Suzuki,
Yeah,
the bully.
felt kind of weak.
he
felt
felt-
kinda flat.
He felt flat, like he was cold reading. But
Yeah,
I think I speak for all three of us when I say that the best performance is probably Erica Harlicker as the woman from the
yeah,
dentist.
it's the older lady. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got a playful trickster character energy to her, like a trickster mentor, and
I could see that.
yeah, like her energy screams big sister,
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Because the way that I can describe her is she's a mentor that
Yeah.
you're never gonna know everything about.
Yeah, enigmatic.
Enigmatic.
that's
yeah.
a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good word.
I love how we're just throwing out big words this entire episode.
This episode of Killer Score sponsored by Word of the Day calendars.
This episode of Killer Score is sponsored by Thesauruses.
This was a Killer Score sponsored by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary.
Yeah, this isn't an Oxford podcast.
Erica Harlicker. It's fitting that she she's very good at youthful yet wise and grounded characters, as evidenced by this movie and by Kyoko Kirigiri from Danganronpa and by Anta Kamiki from Persona 5's whole miniseries.
I'm struggling to think of another dictionary for that joke.
American Heritage?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good
That's
one.
the one that they use for Tarantino's opening in Pulp Fiction.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I could only think of Merriam-Webster and Oxford. Yeah, that's the only ones I could really think of.
I can think of one, but it's not an official dictionary, so it's not gonna work.
What, Urban Dictionary?
No, the Smoky Mountain English Dictionary.
Okay, then. That is certainly one.
Penguin Highway. But yeah, voice acting's great all around. I liked playing Spot the voice actor again.
Yeah.
Keith Silverstein is
Good, as usual.
as Chill Dad.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Just a warm, comforting, paternal performance all across the board. And the kids are all great.
He gets cast as dads a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does oh god, what's his name? Who voiced Papa Near?
Oh, I know, Jameson Price.
Yeah, Jameson Price is another guy who I don't know why he's blanking on his name. One of my favorite voice actors, to be honest.
He's fantastic,
Yeah.
and nice dude too.
Very recognizable voice too. You know,
Yeah.
like there's been so many times I've been playing or watching something, and I'm like, oh, it's Jameson Price.
Mm-hmm.
He's up there with me for like, when it comes to really recognizable voice actors. You know.
Yep. He's up there for me with Liam O'Brien and Patrick Seitz and
Keith
David.
David. God, how am I forgetting his name? The guy who voices Spike Spiegel is in everything.
Steve Bloom.
Steve Bloom, yeah. You hear Steve Bloom's voice, you're just like, that's Steve
There
Bloom.
he is.
Yep.
Because he doesn't do a lot with his range, but he doesn't need to.
He's got a voice as rich and smooth as peanut butter.
Yeah, when you've got a voice as cool as Steve Bloom's, you don't need to have a ton of range.
Although sometimes he likes playing around with it. Like, I say what you will about some of the stuff in Gurren Lagann, but he was just a joy as Leron.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just his smoky bass being brought up an octave to voice the most flamboyantly gay character ever.
Yeah, no. Other things for this, I do like how they animate the penguins, aside from the fact that they're not normal penguins. They do a great job of capturing the fun little waddling and weird motions that penguins have.
Sorry. I was going to say, while also injecting some new motions to kind of hint to you that these are out of the ordinary.
Of course. Because there is a scene where the penguins are like flapping wings, slapping people. My favorite one is when they're just like flapping their little
Wings,
I guess,
to like helicopter.
to helicopter around, and it's adorable. But one thing I was going to mention is that the most difficult scene in the movie, which takes place towards the climax, it's not much of a spoiler territory. They call it Penguin Parade.
Yeah.
Because it's just a shitload of penguins.
One big, giant
Mess of penguins.
mess of surfing penguins, essentially.
Is there a special terminology for a large group of penguins?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, because I'm curious, because as we mentioned earlier, some animals have some really weird names.
A pride of lions, a party of elephants. I
Gaggle of geese, of course, as we
think
brought up.
aren't hippopotamuses
A
pods?
group of penguins in the water is called a raft. On land, they're called a waddle. Also, other names
Waddle.
include rookery, colony, and huddle.
I love those names.
Those are all awesome.
All of those.
So, in this specific case, I guess you could consider it a raft of penguins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a waddle.
And a waddle, because they're both on land and in water in different points.
Yeah, like alternating.
Oh man, this is related to the movie. She mentioned she doesn't like bats and they creep her out. I just found out the name for a collective of bats is a camp.
Oh,
Bat camp. I like that.
Yeah, there's
a
a
camp of bats.
There's a camp of bats over there, and I'm like, let me go see that.
Honestly, I'm
I
glad
want to see
we.
a waddle of penguins.
Aaron, honestly, I'm glad we covered this movie just because I love learning about animals irrespective of our bi-weekly tradition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, bats are cool. I really want to go to one of those zoos that they have the bat exhibits at.
They have like the bat enclosure, yeah.
I'd like to remind all the bat haters out there that they are capable of being deceptively cute.
They are
like,
sky puppies.
look at the video there is of that one rescued bat at a shelter eating a banana.
Oh, the flying fox eating the banana. That's adorable.
Oh, or there's one of a bat cuddling up in a blanket and eating like a raspberry. It's
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah.
He's
And
just chowing down. He's like,
Sorry. Please cut that out.
now the mic.
Yep. Killer Scores getting their butt kicked by allergies, but never fear.
Yeah, I don't do good in allergy season, especially like mostly when the pollen's high. I'm actually pretty good during the winter.
I'm never good.
Yeah, that's why I like the cold season so much because I'm like, my sinuses are free.
I feel like I'm one of those people who should be double masking 24/7 just because of allergies.
Honestly,
It's
I've
not
noted
great.
it's like kryptonite for you.
Yeah, because I'm allergic to like 10 things.
I'll try and
One of them being an antihistamine.
I'll try and just clear that out in post if I can.
Is there anyone in existence who's not allergic to pollen? It seems like everyone has a
I
pollen
was gonna say that's
allergy.
kind of universal.
It's the most common allergen. It's
Yeah, I was about to say.
pollen, mold, and dust mites.
Yeah.
Penguin Highway.
Penguin Highway.
Do you think penguins have allergies?
We're tired.
Well, I'm just saying. It's related to what's going on right now.
I mean, we are talking about penguins.
Exactly.
so-
We're talking about penguins. We're
I
talking
mean,
about
dogs
allergies.
and cats can have allergies, so I can assume birds would too.
Yeah.
That's true. This is one of the most adorable things. I'd have to get a video of it sometime to put it in the actual video. But my cat Bowie sneezes a lot, and it's always funny and cute.
Until he sees us on the wall.
Until he sees it in the wall, but he's
Yeah.
always like.
All right. Even if it's not for that episode, I want you to get footage of that.
Yes.
So the next time we bring up Bowie, I'll just plop in footage of him sneezing.
Of the little goblin man.
The little goblin cat.
Little goblin boy.
At least send me a picture of him so I can put over this section.
Oh, yeah. of course.
Anyway.
We got
have a
plenty.
million.
We got a bunch of pictures of
Oh yeah. So animation's fantastic. Characters are really cool and expressive, and I like all the little artistic touches that set this apart from other like big budget anime movies. Like when characters close their eyes in this movie, their eyes become sketch lines basically.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like little scratchy scribbles.
Yeah, to me it feels like it's not afraid to take its animation notes from TV anime and also manga.
Yeah. Yeah, it had that very breathing manga to life sort of things, even
Yeah.
though there was no manga to breathe to life in this particular case.
Well, there was.
There was a manga. They did do a manga adaptation.
Oh.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the intro.
Whoops, missed it.
Yeah. Overall, though, for me, I would say it's a pretty... I haven't read the book, but it's a fun little movie to watch. So I can't speak on the strength of the adaptation itself, but it works well, everything. It's not... It might... I don't know if it'll blow your mind away, per se, but I think it's a pretty good watch, especially if you're just, like, looking for something that's...
Nice watching the Sunday afternoon
Yeah.
type of movies.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go into this for some high-energy affair.
Go in this for something more warm
Subdued, yeah.
and subdued.
So, if I'm permitted
Yeah.
to do my little TED Talk on Childlike Wonder.
Hey.
Okay.
Okay. So, one of the main things I took away from this movie is the sense of just the things you notice as a kid that you don't notice as an adult. When people grow up, they lose that childlike sense of wonder, the feeling that anything is possible, the world is big and beautiful and full of mystery. And it's sad that we lose so much of that as adults. We get so wrapped up in things like income taxes, car payments, health insurance, what to make for dinner, so on and so forth, that we forget to look for the things that make us laugh or smile or leave us with a sense of awe or wonder. We forget what it's like to feel small and the world is full of possibilities, and if we can just imagine it. I know this sounds like a Walt Disney quote, if you can dream it, you can do it, but it's true. We get so aligned with everyday monotony like laundry and dinner and taxes that we forget what it's like to be a kid again. And we need to relearn what that's like and what it's like to be young again before it's too late. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
That was beautiful, Aaron.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was nice. I do not be surprised if I have my own little thing at the end of my anime episode, but that is going to be a while in the making.
What are we at, like 40-something?
45.
Oh, okay.
44:15.
Yeah. Do anyone have anything else they really want to say on this one? Or, like, any sort of trivia or anything?
No. I mean, I just kind of want to end it with a TED Talk.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, nothing wrong with a little breezier one, and we're all a little feeling kind of crappy.
Malazed.
I'll give you that picture of Charlie from Smiling Friends so people know how I'm feeling right now.
I'll put a little caption that says "Pictured Dalton Morrison."
Yeah, basically.
I'll just show a picture of a dog who got stung by a bee, and that's what I feel like.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like how you even did the whole wheezing laugh thing there.
Yeah, I turned
that
it.
one
I had a
video.
Muttley. I had a Muttley moment right there. Appropriate.
Oh, crap! I forgot. There's some. We never did the whole traditional promotional thing at the very beginning, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
With
Yeah,
Patreon and all that.
Yeah. Oh, for our stuff.
For our own stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, we didn't.
links below.
Links below.
Links below.
I actually
below.
put out videos this time, guys.
Yeah, we got.
I'm alive.
We got things. I still got that voice acting demo. I've got an email you can hit me at. I'll put that down below too in case anyone wants to contact me via email for any sort of.
Check out my channel for the
Actually, on my Twitter, I posted my email for a link for stuff.
yeah, and check out my YouTube channel for the Soul Reaver 2 dub I did with Ben Grace,
It was
aka
good,
the
it was
Von
good.
Hauser. Check his channel out for the Prince of Egypt dub we did, funnily enough, with me as Moses.
I've been busy scripting some longer videos. I might pump out a shorter one just to get it out on the channel, just to have something out there.
And,
But you know, I got that going on. There's stuff on Richie's channel. There's stuff on other channels.
oh yeah, that big one coming out sometime soon.
Yeah.
Ironing it out. I'm working double time for you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna be dubbing some. We're also gonna be planning on trying to dub some old video games that didn't have
Games,
dubs. Yeah,
comics, etc.
just little scenes here and there. In the meantime, though, I'm gonna be closing us out because I will be kicking off the second episode of anime, and what better to do than to get back to the tradition of me worshiping at the ground that was Satoshi Kon. So, for his second feature film, which was, of course, a few years after his film debut, Perfect Blue, which we've all seen here, so sadly we won't be covering on the podcast. Maybe a guest episode at some point.
It's great. Go watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely phenomenal film. So, Satoshi Kon started thinking about older films and like older Japanese cinema, and he was struck by the story of an actress known as Setsuko Hara. Now, Setsuko was a rising star in the Japanese film scene from the 40s, 50s, and abruptly ended her career in 1962. She retired, basically vanished off the face of the earth for a lot of people, stopped talking to media, didn't do anything. And that got Satoshi Kon thinking, what happened? Why would she do that? Why did she have such a meteoric yet brief career in film? So, making a movie inspired by the tale of Setsuko Hara, but with a fictional character, he created an absolute love letter to the wonders of cinema and how it can transform the world around you, and how even fleeting stars can leave the longest impact on those around them. We're, of course, talking about 2001's Millennium Actress. See you next time.